Welcome to the Gump Report. I believe this is episode 19. I don't know. I'm not keeping track. I'll put it on to the title when I finish and edit this. This is a special Gump Report. Now, I filmed my Thea Trinidad video before this, and it'll come out in the next couple of days. I think about Monday or Tuesday it'll come out, because this is being filmed on a Saturday. But I had to make this video because of what relevance it is. Guys, this is my 1500 functional video, because I've had more than 1500 videos uploaded to YouTube. I had maybe 1520 or 1525, because over the years I've had some that didn't work properly and it had to be deleted, or there was some type of problem that like there was some type, I didn't understand copyright at the time, and the video got flagged, but I didn't get a strike on my channel. It just didn't get viewed by anybody internationally, so I took it down. That happened with one video on this channel. But this is the 1500 available video that you can go on YouTube and watch it. And for me, this is a milestone for me. I came on this channel. If anyone's been around for the years that I've been on, I've been here since 2012. If anyone has seen my first videos, I'm not putting no images of myself, because I look totally different compared to the way I used to before. One, I didn't have this thing behind me. Two, I looked very chunky at the time, because in 2012 I was still kind of chubbyish, because I was like 190 near 200 pounds. I'm like 170 something, one near 180. And the mindset I had at that time was way different. It's a strange thing going from having a mindset of, how can I even explain this to you guys? Of, why did I leave work? I should have just dropped dead at work. And I'm not afraid to say that, because that's how I was at the time. I was depressed with anxiety. And I think I've always had depression, because my mother had depression. And it looked like I had it. And I've never been happy. I've tried to make everyone else around me happy, and I made no one happy. I tried to please my job and my bosses. I tried to please my wife at the time, didn't make her happy. I tried to please her family, didn't make her happy. I tried to please my co-workers, didn't make them happy. I wasn't able to make my son 100% happy. I couldn't make no one happy. And particularly, I wasn't happy. So in this situation, I can say I'm getting better, that I understand that I can't please everybody. That's one thing I never understood. I can't please everybody. I now understand that. And it's not an easy thing to say this, no matter if this is seen by 10 people or 10,000 people. You're putting yourself out there. But I'm saying this because anyone who sees this, who has depression, anxiety, or just feels like they're not getting anywhere, maybe this could help them. And I've always been the type to help people. And that's another thing I learned. And a guy I met at a place called FedCap in New York, he lost his leg in a car accident. I asked him how he dealt with it, because he used to play football in college. He was going to go to the NFL, and he got into a car accident and sheared off his left leg below the knee. He lost his foot, his calf, he lost his foot, he lost everything below the knee. And I asked him how he dealt with it. And he told me something that I still see and think of today. And it kind of helped me to understand what I was acting like. He told me, you know, when you're home and you can't do the stuff you used to do, if you were a butthead before you were hurt and couldn't do anything, you become a bigger butthead afterward. He said he was a big ass butthead. He think he was great. But the minute after he had the accident and lost part of his leg, he became a bigger butthead. And he had to learn that he couldn't be who he was, and he had to decide if he wanted to be something better. In my case, I wasn't a butthead. I wasn't an asshole. I wasn't a mean, cruel person. But I learned I had issues. I couldn't please the people I loved. I couldn't please the people I work with. I couldn't please my job. I couldn't please anyone, not even myself. Only thing I tried to do was always help others. Because, technically speaking, that's all I knew. All I wanted to do was just make things better for other people. And it wasn't until, here's a story. Around 2011, before Hurricane Sandy, it was like November to this, like October, November of 2011. No, actually, forget about that. That's not the most important one. This is. It was 2012. It was two incidents that happened in 2012. The first one was that I fell in the street. My leg is permanently stuck straight. Until I get surgery to have my hip replaced, I'm going to be always with a straight leg. And one day I fell in the street heading towards the court because I was going to be evicted from my home. I had to do what they call in New York show cause. Say simply, there's a reason why I haven't paid the rent. Can I have an extension on my time? And I've done it already once before with that, and I tried to catch up, but then things happened and I couldn't keep up with it because they cut my money when I was under workman's compensation. So I was heading to the court again to show cause, and I fell in the street. And I remember going into the hospital because someone called an ambulance for me. I had no phone. So someone called an ambulance. I went to the hospital. I was there for 10 hours, unseen, until they just let me go because I had an injury. I currently was on workman's comp. If I tried to sue anybody, it would have messed up my case. So I had to go with nothing. And then that next day, I had to go to the court, sit for 12 hours, and then walk to the marshal. Because if you don't show cause, a marshal will lock you out of your apartment. I had to spend 12 hours. It wasn't a day. It was 2 days after I fell in the street. Had to spend 12 hours in the courts from early morning until almost 4 o'clock. Because the marshal closes at 5:30. No, 5:45, sorry. It's hard. It's been a long time. And I had to go. And understand, where I was living at the time, you had to travel far to get to the marshal's office. And I had to pass by a damn graveyard. I did it once before. But this time, my leg was hurting very badly. I had not eaten anything. And worse yet, it was raining heavily by the time I literally got to the place I had to get off on the train to go walk nearly a quarter of a mile to get to the marshal with my paperwork that I had to wrap up really good to keep from getting wet. At that moment, I remember clearly, 100%, I felt completely defeated, lost. And they say sometimes you get a moment of inspiration, or in my case, following the Great Spirit, a moment to feel something from the Great Spirit. For someone who's Christian, a moment touched by God, or whatever you want to say it. But for me, something inside me said, no. Because I stopped dead in my tracks. I wasn't using a cane at the time. I was limping badly. And I was just standing less than 10 feet away from maybe about a dozen gravestones in the rain, holding in a plastic bag my paperwork to make sure I wasn't getting evicted from my apartment because I was about near point of eviction. Something said, no, walk, don't give up. And understand, I just already recently started this channel in July. And that happened in, what was that? That happened in March. I started my channel in July. The first true incident I had that changed me to a certain extent happened in March in a rainstorm, walking past the graveyard to go to a marshal to keep my apartment from being shut out so I wouldn't live in the street. That was the first incident. The second incident that made a mark on me was that same year, Hurricane Sandy happened, and all of the main federal buildings were all shut down because everything got shut down. The power system, everything got messed up. And it was a month in that situation. It was near Thanksgiving. And it was nearly 3 weeks from the time after that, because at that time, right before Hurricane Sandy hit, I was supposed to show cause again because I couldn't get money because of how workman's comp worked. So I had to show cause again. I was given a 90-day a 90-day reprieve because that would have been the second one. I had given them money and then I needed to do it again. And then Hurricane Sandy hit. And in New York, that lasted for almost 3 weeks, almost a month, because that happened between around October and November 2012. And on Thanksgiving, because I was miserable at that time, I couldn't get any money more than what I was getting. I owed child support, not because I didn't want to pay, because I just didn't have the money. I was miserable going to doctor. My leg was not getting better. And around that time, I was almost to the point of having to decide if I had to go back to work, which if I did, I'd probably be in worse shape than I am now, or continue on this and know that I could be evicted because I didn't have any money. It was in between that time, Thanksgiving rolled around. And I decided, you know what little money I had, because I had maybe gave myself $20 to spend for Thanksgiving. So I decided to go to a buffet, get something to eat. So I went out at 5 in the night, got something to eat, went to the near buffet, which was about 20 blocks away. And with this leg, it hurt. Came back, sat down, got changed, sat down, was about to eat. Then, you hear that was my door. That was my door at my apartment. And when that happened, I checked and wondered who it was, because no one comes to see me. When I opened the door, it was someone who served me an eviction notice. I had 72 hours to deal with it, or I would have been thrown out of my apartment. That was just when I was about to sit down and eat food that I had to force myself to get, with only the last $20 for that week to do whatever I wanted, because I had to break up what little money I had. For that week, I could spend $20 to do whatever I want, because I had to do food stamps at the time. Those were the two hardest times of my life. And I think about the time when I started this channel in July. It was hard. I had a crappy camera that had barely any sound. And if you've seen it, you've seen my first two videos of Chris Benoit, the one who shall not be named. It was with a crappy camera, the same room with this. As you can see, this isn't real. This is just something I put up. I have a very small apartment, guys. Literally, I'm in a studio. And it's been hard for the years that I've lived while I've been making these videos that have been either constant or sporadic. It's been hard. Even right now, I did something silly that I didn't realize I did something silly. I ate celery for the first time. I don't think I've ever eaten celery. I went and got a little pack of carrots and celery, and literally, I ate it, and I got the worst gas I've ever imagined in my life. And in my case, I do have problems with gas. I have a messed up stomach sometimes when I have gas. And I didn't realize I had a messed up stomach because I forced myself to eat something new. And I thought, well, I can get past the gas. And when I stopped eating it, my stomach was still messed up from the gas. And I just kept eating, piling more food onto my stomach. And now my stomach's a complete mess because of it. And now I got to deal with it now. And I'm still making videos right here. As far as I'm all right, I don't seem to have a problem. I got gassed and my stomach's messed up, which you know how your stomach gets really messed up to the point where your stomach spasms and you have some other issues. It's nothing I haven't had before. It's happened before. And if it gets bad, I go to the hospital. I know what to do. So you don't have to worry. If things get, if I get really bad gas to the point where I can't go to the bathroom, so I go to the hospital. And it's happened before, but they told me, don't worry, just eat yogurt, eat light, you'll be fine, it'll clear up. You got like an inflammation. It happens. But I have been doing videos for 9 years, counting this year. It has not been easy. And going back to what I said, I started this channel with depression and anxiety. To anyone, and I've done this more than a few times over the years, to anyone, and I mean anyone, even if you're doing well, always remember, it's not easy. Especially now, people are still freaking the fuck out because of the pandemic. Even with the new vaccines, where they took the Pfizer one off and now they want to bring it back again. There's a lot of stuff that makes you scared. I haven't even had the injection yet because it's still pretty, even though they released a lot in New York, it's like long lines. I haven't done it yet. I want to make sure it works, at least for me. But essentially, it's not easy. You're looking at a guy who's done now 1,500 videos, giving his opinion, literally putting himself out there, saying his mess, particularly having a messed up stomach because he ate celery probably for the first time. I don't remember ever eating it. Ate too much of it, messed up his stomach, lovely, and now he's got to deal with it. But he doesn't quit. He's doing his best to be the best he could be. I have to say I was never proud of myself. I have to say, honestly, when I was a child, 3 things went through my head. 3 at the age of 12. This is the truth. You may not believe it, but it's true. The first one was that my family is so screwed up, I don't want to expose anybody to it. So I didn't have many friends at all. Second, I believed that I should never have children because of how screwed up my family is. 100%. But I did have a son. Supposedly I have a son. And the third one, I never believed that this, what you see, this here, I never believed this body belonged to me. It should have belonged to somebody else. Now that shows you I had depression back then. But now if the person that you see in front of you, at nearing the age of 50, and had to learn this in the last 11 years, since he was stuck out of work and had to, it's like, how can I explain this to you guys if you haven't switched this off? The way it was for me, it's like looking at a reflection of myself. Like in this camera that I have, I can see myself. It was like seeing myself, but not wanting to look and looking away from the mirror. That's what it was like. That I was growing up, becoming an adult, and there was a mirror straight in my face of who I was seeing, and I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to see the person who had been abused as a child. I didn't want to see the person who had depression, now knowing. I didn't want to see the person that would rather give everything to everybody else and make everyone happy than try to at least make himself a little joy and not feel guilty about it. All that, he always went like this. Never looked in the mirror. He refused until he got hurt and then was forced to stare at that mirror. Like I said, the guy that I met, when I first said this video, the guy that I met who was in college football, that would have gone to the NFL if he hadn't had the car accident and had his left leg cut off below the knee. He said, if you're a butthead beforehand, you're a bigger butthead afterward until you figure it out, which he did. And that's what I've been doing for the last, now 11 years. Figuring out I'm not a butthead, but figuring out all the stuff I said. This is a lot. This seemed to be more than a serious video than a goofy video, but it is a milestone video. I'm not going to say much for my 9th year in YouTube. I don't think it's necessary. Next year, my 10th year in 2022, I will say something profound. But I think because of my 1,500 video, this is important. I do need to say something, what I've gone through to produce these videos. Finding a way to watch wrestling when I don't have the money to pay for cable the way I normally would. I have internet. Had to find ways around it. Not being able to afford to buy the stuff I want. I'm on a fixed budget. 100%. It's not like I made of money. I have to make sure I take care of myself. Make sure I have money for the future. It's not easy. And trying to keep myself healthy, which is not easy. Look what happened. I ate celery, I believe, for the first time, a lot of it. And I got upset stomach really bad. And I messed my stomach up. And now it could take days to get straightened out. But I'm still here. And I know what to do. I know how to generally take care of myself. I know what I need to do to take care if I need to go to a doctor or a hospital and not just sit and do nothing. It's not easy. But if you believe in yourself and take what you've learned, it can get you somewhere. Not saying get you everywhere, but it'll get you somewhere. Because I'm still walking the road. I still don't understand half the stuff that I see on the road. But at least the half I do see, at least I do understand a part of it. And the other half, I'm beginning to learn. If that makes any sense. So I hope you enjoyed this Gump report. I know it's very, oh my gosh. I know if you don't like this video, I'm cool with it. I understand. if you don't like this video. If it sucks, I understand. But have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.